Good evening. My name is Michelle Shoresman, Councilmember Michelle Shoresman, and I would like to call this regular meeting of the City Council to order and state that all members are present with the exception of Mayor Stewart, who will be absent, and Vice Mayor Pease, who will participate remotely as noted on the agenda. Councilmember Marks, would you lead us in the pledge? And next, I'll ask the city attorney if she'd like to report out on closed session.
Thank you, Madam Acting Vice Mayor. The City Council did meet in closed session on two matters as noted on the agenda. One matter of public employee appointment regarding the interim city manager position and the permanent city manager position. And on that item, we do have some reportable action. I'm pleased to announce that the council is has directed staff to move forward with the appointment of our current assistant city manager, Whitney McDonald. That was on a motion by Councilmember Marks, seconded by Councilmember Francis. That was a 4-0 vote. The mayor was absent from the meeting on pre-planned absence. So that was unanimous of the present members, and there was no further reportable action on that matter. And we will be moving forward with the contract adoption on an open session memo at an upcoming council meeting. And then on the second matter, we had a conference with labor negotiators related also to the interim city manager and city manager positions, and further direction was given to the labor negotiator with no further reportable action on that item. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we will move on to presentations. First, we have an introduction of the new Downtown SLO Chief Executive Officer, LeBren Harris, and I'd like to invite Wendy Lewis up to the podium.
There's lots of Lewises in town. I'm Donna Lewis. Yeah, it's all good.
Sorry about that. That was awful.
It's so okay. It happens all the time. As this past year's board chair of Downtown SLO, it's my pleasure to introduce our new CEO, LeBren Harris, who is no stranger to the majority of you. For those who may not be familiar with our organization, Downtown SLO is a 501c6 nonprofit founded in 1975, whose mission is to foster an economically vibrant downtown. Downtown SLO serves the community by working on initiatives such as a clean and safe program, beautification efforts, coordinating and overseeing special events like the weekly farmers market, as well as supporting downtown business owners through advocacy and programming efforts. A little more about LeBren. LeBren's journey in SLO began as a student athlete at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, where she excelled in track and field, becoming a two-time Big West champion. In 2004, LeBren earned her bachelor's degree in kinesiology from Cal Poly, and from there continued her education at Cleveland State University, where she obtained a master's degree in sports management. She returned to San Luis Obispo in the summer of 2006, and LeBren worked her way up the ladder at Embassy Suites San Luis Obispo, where she was awarded several promotions, ultimately attaining the position of director of catering. She moved on from there in 2014 to director of sales at Hampton Inn & Suites, which subsequently led to a role of dual director of sales overseeing Town Place Suites by Marriott. And most recently, LeBren served as the area director of sales for Quorum Hotel and Resorts, which included the Inn at the Pier in Pismo Beach and Hotel Virginia in Santa Barbara. LeBren's commitment to community is evident through her participation on the board of directors for various local organizations, including the Tourism Improvement District, or TBID, Cal Poly Stampede Club, Mission College Prep School Board of Regents, the Central Coast Economic Forecast, and the San Luis Obispo Chamber of Commerce, where she served as board chair. Beyond her professional achievements, LeBryn is married to San Luis Obispo native Terrence Harris, and together they share the joy of raising 3 beautiful daughters, twins Jolie and Michaela, and Alicia. As CEO of Downtown SLO, LeBryn will continue to advocate for downtown vitality and oversee the organization's highly visible events, including our farmers market, concerts in the plaza, the annual holiday parade and activations, Downtown SLO's Clean and Safe program, and much more. We're thrilled to have LeBryn at the helm and are looking forward to her fresh perspective and the enthusiasm she brings to all she does in our community. Please welcome LeBryn.
Well, thank you, thank you. I don't know what else to say after Donna's introduction, but I am thrilled and honored to be able to serve in the capacity that I am for Downtown SLO, but for the City of SLO residents, visitors, and patrons who come into downtown. We just completed our first board retreat. So thankful that Council Member Pease, as well as Greg Herman, Deputy City Manager, Deputy City Manager, was able to participate, as they are our liaisons on our board. And we had a great, awesome, wonderful time, wonderful discussion, and we are so excited for what's going to be coming before the city in the next year, fiscal year, and as we continue to work on behalf of Downtown SLO. I just want to say my goal and my vision for Downtown SLO is growth. And you will hear me say that over and over again. Our goal is to grow in many areas, not just in revenue to try to pad our pockets. It's in revenue to be able to pour back into the organization, to be able to be a support and an advocate for our businesses, for this city. And we want to be able to be the best partner that we can be with all of our partners, between the city, between Cal Poly, between every other organization that we would love to join in partnership. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for everything that you all do for this amazing city that we get to call home every day, that I get to raise my family in with my children and my husband, who's very much ingrained in this community, as well as he's just local. He's the one that told me he wasn't leaving, so that's kind of why I'm here. But thank you so much, and looking forward to the future and working with all of you.
Thank you. I think I can speak for all of us that we're looking forward to working with you in the new role. And thank you, Donna, for the great introduction tonight. Next, we have one proclamation this evening. It is for American Red Cross Month. So I will read the proclamation, and then I'll ask Rob Lewin to come up to the podium and receive the proclamation. So March 2024 is American Red Cross Month. Whereas during American Red Cross Month in March, we recognize the compassion of people in the city of San Luis Obispo and reaffirm our commitment to care for one another in times of crisis. Whereas this generous spirit is woven into the fabric of our community and advances the humanitarian legacy of American Red Cross founder Clara Barton, one of the most honored women in our country's history, who nobly dedicated herself to alleviating suffering. Whereas in the city of San Luis Obispo today, kind-hearted individuals in our community exemplify Barton's commitment as they step up as Red Cross volunteers or by making important donations to provide a beacon of hope for our neighbors in need. Through their voluntary and selfless contributions, they make a life-saving difference in people's darkest hours, whether it's delivering shelter, food, and comfort during disasters, providing critical blood donations for hospital patients, supporting military families, veterans, and caregivers through the unique challenges of service, saving lives with first aid, CPR, and other skills, or delivering aid and reconnecting loved ones separated by global crises. Whereas we hereby recognize this month of March in honor of all those who lead with their hearts to serve people in need. And we ask everyone to join in this commitment to strengthen our community. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of San Luis Obispo do hereby proclaim March 2024 as Red Cross Month, and we encourage all citizens of the City of San Luis Obispo to reach out and support its humanitarian mission.
Yes. Thank you. You hold this first, Junior.
You guys look great.
Maybe we can take a picture with the council in a moment. Great. Okay, I just have a few words if I could. Okay. Thank you, honorable council members. As a board member of the local district of the Red Cross, I'm joined today with some of those volunteers that Clara Barton spoke about and was. I'm with Julianne Abbott, Ursula Holtz, and June Cochran, who joined me and who are all the best of the examples of Red Cross volunteers. I want to share our appreciation to the city for its continued support and this proclamation for Red Cross Month. Red Cross is a volunteer organization who responds in times of emergencies, both small and large, day and night, to directly help all people in their darkest hours. Regardless of race, religion, sexual orientation, gender identification, politics, or citizenship, when people need us, we are there. Our volunteers on the Central Coast have responded 47 times to assist 94 families who were impacted by an unfortunate and unexpected calamity. These volunteers provide both financial and emotional support. They provide a place to stay for a single family that has lost a home to a fire or a whole community that suffered from a disaster. The commitment of Red Cross volunteers is exemplary, and the responsibilities we ask of them is extraordinary. We hope others in the community will consider becoming volunteers. Red Cross also provides support for those in the armed forces 400 times this year on the Central Coast who need and help because of tragedy at home while they were serving our country. To prevent tragedy, Red Cross has installed 98 smoke detectors here in San Luis Obispo in the homes of the most vulnerable. Last year, the county saw firsthand the disaster impacts of winter storms that caused our citizens to need sheltering. 5 shelters were opened by the Red Cross. When that happened, and when it happens in the future, it is and it will be the Red Cross who will be there. So with much appreciation to you all for your public service and your support of the Red Cross, we look forward to continuing the work set forth by Clara Barton more than 100 years ago. Thank you so much. There'll be news in the Red Cross world. You have the proclamation you can hold up.
Oh, what a good looking group.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for entertaining that quick moment for a photo. We'll move on to the city manager report. Would City Manager Derek Johnson like to present the report?
Good evening, presiding mayor, members of the council. The first item I want to share with the council is that our Parks and Rec department is still working to provide some engaging fun. They've got the annual Spring Fling on Saturday, March 23rd at Meadow Park. The Parks and Recreation Department have planned an egg sighting event filled with community booths, live music, face painting, egg hunt for 8 years and under with prizes, and our very own Slow Bunny. The Slow Food Bank will be in attendance, so please feel free to bring donations to support the event. The event is from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Meadow Park, and it should be an exciting day. Again, that day is Saturday, March 23rd. I want to share with the council also that we're happy to announce that we've received the funding for the state, from the State Water Board for $6.6 million to clean up contaminated slow groundwater. Through this project, the city will build 2 groundwater supply wells, which are expected to be fully operational in 2026. These groundwater wells will be equipped with water treatment systems that will remove all contaminants from the water. The city is working with state and local regulators to ensure this water will exceed all applicable drinking water standards before adding it to the city's drinking water system. For more information, you can visit www.slowcity.org/water/water sources/groundwater. And just as a reminder, this is in addition to the grant we've received to clean up the groundwater basin. Continued progress is being made on a variety of projects under our Slow in Motion effort. The first one, the North Truro Greenway project, work continues on the installation of the art fencing under the Truro underpass, which will support the art fence and accent lining. Staff have coordinated with the contractor on a start date of March 25th to begin the slurry sealing. The greenway with the striping and signage to follow in April. The project's expected to be completed this spring, so it's a little farther than what we anticipated due to weather delays once the underpass improvements are finished. In terms of our pavement maintenance and mobility improvements, the contractor is continuing work on sidewalk repairs on Monterey Street. There's been a significant amount of work being done there with paving to follow. The contractor is performing patchworks and crack sealing on Johnson, and the next roadway segment plan for maintenance is the ongoing project is Monterey Street from Santa Rosa to California Boulevard after the concrete repairs are completed. As I've mentioned previously, commuters should expect some travel delays and some lane shifts throughout the work area, and more information can be found on the Slow in Motion website. You can email us at slowinmotion@slowcity.org, or you can phone us at 805-783-7887, or our website, www.slowcity.org/slowinmotion. Next, I want to just share with the council an update on our parking rate study. This will be coming to the council on April 16th. And so staff continues to work our consultant on our parking rate study. The first round of community outreach is completed that included 2 community meetings, multiple meetings with stakeholder groups, booths at farmers market, and an online survey that received over 2,300 responses. Data collection is complete and some of the financial modeling is underway. In early April will be a second round of community outreach, and so we want to invite the community to attend those meetings, and I'm going to give you the date. The first one is April 4th from 6 to 8 at the Ludwig Community Center. The second one on April 5th from 12 to 1:30, and that's virtual, with links accessible at www.slowcity.org/parking. Again, those recommendations will come to the council as a study session on April 16th, and give both the public and the council an opportunity to provide direction back to staff. And the plan is to return as part of your budget deliberations in June to bring back any sort of finalized actions as part of that, and with final action expected on June 16th. With that, I would want to just give a brief update on this last weekend, St. Patrick's Day, St. Friday's Day activities. We did have a chance to meet with President Armstrong just prior to your council meeting tonight. I just want to thank Cal Poly and the cooperation and participation. I think all of us are deeply disturbed and troubled by the events that happened this weekend, both on campus and off campus. I do want to thank our Chief Scott, and all our allied law enforcement agencies that did a very admirable job given the 6,000 to 7,000 people that were there. We take this event and what happened very seriously. And with that, I want to invite Chief Scott up to provide some details about our operations over the weekend, and then we can brief the council on some of the next steps that we plan on taking with our partnership with Cal Poly.
Thank you, City Manager Johnson, and thank you, Vice Mayor and members of council for allowing the opportunity to debrief with you for the St. Patrick's Day weekend activities. This year, we were expecting larger crowds, and that in fact did occur. Most likely, we saw that occur on Friday. We didn't see the crowds occur in our downtown core. Most of the crowds, as you've seen now from both media posts and some of our internal briefings, occurred in the Hathaway and Bond area in the neighborhood. Downtown bars opened about 6 a.m. on Sunday. They were less crowded, as I mentioned, than we anticipated, and there were no significant enforcement concerns for our downtown core. Our new safety enhancement zone became effective this year, and it was in place Friday at 12:01 and carried throughout the weekend, and we found this tool to be very effective for our enforcement efforts. Our police presence was tripled this year as opposed to last year. We had assistance from both Cal Poly, the CSU crew team, California Men's Colony, and the California Alcohol and Beverage Control. I also want to give a special thanks to SLO City Fire Department, who did a tremendous job in answering at least 25 calls for service in a very compressed time for emergency calls related to alcohol. The majority of our resources were unfortunately focused on the non-sanctioned celebrations that occurred in the north neighborhoods adjacent to Cal Poly. This is the Alta Vista area. Early enforcement efforts were beneficial. We were able to make several contacts, several arrests, and several citations, all within the course of a couple of hours. But unfortunately, we did have to close the streets at about 6:15 a.m. as crowds swelled to at least 6,000 to 7,000 people. Overall, there was some property damage reported in the city. Luckily, we didn't have any significant injuries as a result of the event. We had at least, again, 12 arrests that were reported and 156 citations, most all for alcohol-related activities, and again, in a very compressed time frame on Friday. The event ended about 9:15, which was about 2 hours earlier than we expected. This typically goes till about 11 or 12, so early enforcement efforts, we believe, curbed the duration of the event, so we're thankful for that. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, we did have at least 3 parked cars that were parked on the street that were damaged, and we're still following up on those vandalism reports. As you all know from reading the media, seeing the media, that we've had at least 2 dorm buildings and other structures at Cal Poly that were significantly damaged as a result of the celebrations. We're going to be continuing to, looking ahead, working very closely with Cal Poly. As City Manager mentioned, we've already had a meeting about next steps in coordination and looking at, in the near term, just conducting an assessment of the activities that occurred on campus, providing additional investigative support to see where we can assist our partners in identifying additional suspects that can and will be held accountable for the extensive damage that occurred. I'd like to use this opportunity to speak to our community directly, and if you saw something, if you see something after the fact on social media, if you know these people, please report those to either SLO City Police or to Cal Poly Police. On a personal note, and just echoing President Armstrong's message that I think most of you have all seen by now this week, we find these activities extremely disappointing, dangerous, and criminal. This is not in keeping with Cal Poly's reputation and certainly not that of our community. And looking ahead, these lawless activities cannot and should not be allowed to occur in our communities. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have of me.
Councilmember Francis.
Yeah, thank you very much for the update from both of you. Obviously, we need some time to do an assessment of what happened this year. Do we have any sort of preview for the community of how we're going to get ahead of this activity for next year? Is there anything we can share with them about reassuring the community that we're not going to allow this to continue the way it's going?
Thank you for the question. I think the messaging is don't come. Don't come to our community. Don't come to celebrate this event in our community with the intent on causing harm to our communities. I think we've obviously seen this event grow over the years. It has reached a point where it cannot continue. It cannot be permitted to continue to grow. We've done our best with the resources that we've had available to contain it. But I think our strategy looking forward shall not be on containment. It shall be on prevention. And I think this is a great opportunity for partnership because that needs to start with the people that attend this event, engaging with our student body on making this not the place to be and encouraging people not to come to it.
I appreciate that movement from containment to prevention. Thank you.
Thank you.
City Manager Johnson.
Yeah, I just want to expand upon Chief Scott's comments, and we did have a chance to speak with President Armstrong tonight, and I think there is a shared understanding of that we're at a point in time where we need to really cooperate, and so I anticipate that we'll be putting together a team that will be working on efforts and strategies. I think rather than, as Chief Scott identified, rather than containment, but prevention. There are a number of data-driven strategies that have worked in other communities that we can pull from. I think we all understand that it's going to require our collective participation and effort to make sure that this doesn't happen again. We understand that students are at a point in their time where they want to socialize, and there are boundaries. And those boundaries clearly were crossed this past weekend, and we don't intend to allow that to happen again.
Thank you, City Manager Johnson. Thank you, Chief Scott. I just want to say that I am so impressed with the partnership and collaboration, the way you were able to mobilize a really big team to help do the best we could to kind of keep things under control this year. And, every year we learn, and I think we'll continue to learn from this experience. And I appreciate the sentiments of moving forward with a goal of prevention and hopefully it being a little bit better each year that we respond to this.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor, members of council.
Did you have anything further in your report, City Manager Johnson?
No, my report is concluded for this evening, so if there's any questions, happy to field those.
Any other questions from my colleagues? I'm looking at Vice Mayor Pease on the computer. Okay, well, thank you for all of that. Thank you for the report. And now is the time on the agenda where we come to public comment for items that are not on the agenda. If you would like to provide public comment and haven't turned in your speaker card, they are outside or behind the city clerk here on the table, and you can still turn those into the city clerk now if you'd like to do so. Again, a reminder, these are for items not on the agenda. City clerk, do we have any comments?
Yeah, we have two, but one of them, I don't think he's in the room anymore. Scott Summers and Donna Hare Price.
Good evening, Council. I ran into an elected official yesterday who said that constituents never say thank you or tell you all the great things that you're doing, so I am going to do that tonight. I want you all to know that I am the first person to use the Slow Bike Coalition e-bike loaner program, and it was an amazing program and service. It allowed me the opportunity to try out several bikes, they're on site, and then to loan a bike for 5 days where I got to have real practice of what I needed so that I can purchase the right bike and use it instead of having it just sit in my garage collecting dust. I also want to thank you all for the bike pass on Johnson. I know that they're in progress, and I appreciate what will happen there, and thank you. That being said, I would love to see this program expanded and promoted. It is a very, very useful tool for our citizens, and believe it or not, it may even help with the parking problem. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Do we have any other speakers? Did we find our missing speaker?
I don't see him, so I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, then we will move on to consent agenda. The consent calendar items consist of matters deemed routine or non-controversial by staff. Unless a member of the council wishes to pull an item for individual consideration, all items are approved by one motion. Do any of my colleagues wish to pull any items from the consent agenda? I see Councilmember Marks.
No, I don't wish to pull anything, but I did want to make a comment about 6C, the annual appointments to the City Advisory Body.
Councilmember Francis, did you want to pull anything or just a comment?
No, I wanted to make a comment about 6C as well, but I'm going to defer to Councilmember Marks to do that.
I have a feeling I have a similar comment, so Councilmember Marks, why don't you take it away?
Well, yeah, I just want to thank everyone who applied for the city advisory bodies this year. The selection process was very difficult because we had so many talented, qualified, and public-spirited individual residents come forward and wish to serve the city. And it was an embarrassment of riches, really. We had to make some very hard choices. So I'm really happy with all of the appointments that have been recommended by the subcommittees. And I also want to just encourage people who applied but weren't selected this year to don't be discouraged, and please apply again and visit the different advisory bodies when they have their hearings and their meetings, and kind of shop around and see what you really feel called to volunteer. So just thank you, everyone. That's it.
Councilmember Francis?
Yeah, you know, advisory bodies can be deeply uncool, but I feel like this year they really had this glow up. We had so many incredible folks come in, and it was just a joy to get to be a part of meeting so many community members that wanted to do more for their community. And so this is just a giant thank you to the entire community. And if you're thinking about it and hearing about all of these new folks that are joining our advisory bodies, please apply next year. We're always looking for new community members to come in and get involved. Thank you so much.
Yes, agree all the way around. Just to put a finer point on it, I wrote down in particular, talking about the embarrassment of riches, we had 71 applicants for 20 positions. So just for perspective, some years we have more openings and some years we have fewer openings, and it just so happened that we only had 20 openings this time. So as my colleagues have alluded, just because you might not have gotten a spot on your chosen commission this time, it doesn't necessarily mean that next time around there won't be more openings, fewer people interested. Just continue to stay engaged. And these are all public meetings, the advisory body meetings, so you can always just come and give public comment. They're public. You can say, have your 3 minutes to speak on topics that you are interested in. And so please definitely stay involved. And one more note, we do still have an opening for a member of the disability community or somebody that is associated with the disabled community on our Construction Board of Appeals. So that recruitment will remain open. So if you know anyone that fits that bill, please encourage them to go to the website and apply. And with that, if there are no items that need to be pulled, then I'll ask the clerk. I'll mention that this is the time of the agenda where you can make public comment on items on the consent agenda. And so if you have any speaker slips, the clerk.
Nope, no, we have none.
Okay, so no public comment on the consent agenda. So I'll ask my colleagues if they have any comments or questions. Councilmember Francis?
No more comments or questions. I'd move to approve the consent agenda.
And Councilmember Marks?
I'll second it. I did have just one comment about 6E, the adoption of the Federal Transit Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. It was actually excellent reading. As you say, you have to almost be a wonk with some of this stuff to really appreciate it. But I just hope that the Mass Transit Committee members also have access to this report, as well as the City Council, because I think there are a lot of really wonderful bits of information there that would be very useful to our mass transit committee. So thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so with the motion by Councilmember Francis and the second made by Marks, City Clerk, will you please call the roll on the motion?
Councilmember Francis?
Yes.
Councilmember Marks? Yes. Councilmember Shoresman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pease?
Yes. And with that, we have a 4-0 vote, and the motion passes. And so with that, I think we move on to liaison reports and communications. This might be our shortest meeting ever. I'll look to my colleagues to see if they have any reports that they'd like to make. And I see Councilmember Marks.
Yes, I had the privilege of attending the City University quarterly luncheon on the 7th of March. This was, of course, before St. Friday's Day, and I think the coordination between the university and the city was really exemplary this year, and not just with preparing for St. Friday's Day, but also different paving projects, making sure that we're not paving Grand Avenue when all these freshmen are trying to move into the dorms and that kind of thing. At any rate, it was a really wonderful custom that's started years ago, and it's, I believe, helped the city and the university become closer partners. Even though it's just 4 times a year, it's very helpful. So thanks.
Thank you. And Councilmember Francis.
Yeah, thank you very much. I had the privilege of getting to meet our new Community Academy team. I have a whole crew of civic-minded folks that have joined us to learn more about the city and about all of the different departments inside the city. And it was a really awe-inspiring group of community members. We had a chance to do introductions, and just want to extend my gratitude to all of them for caring enough to participate in this program. And then also a huge thank you to the city for sending me to the Civic Well Conference this past week and weekend. It is always a conference that leaves me with a lot of enthusiasm for the great ideas of other communities out in California, and also really just a lot of pride in what our team here in San Luis Obispo has been able to accomplish. So thank you for sending me there.
And Vice Mayor Pease, I see your hand up.
Thank you so much. I ended up with several items, actually. So first, I'm currently in Sacramento on behalf of SLOCOG as the board president. It's my opportunity this year to participate in our Advocacy Day. So tomorrow we'll be walking the halls and have a full day of meetings set up with both our legislators and staff members. And one of the main points that I'm going to be talking about is the gas tax. The gas tax has been a major source of funding for transportation projects, but the gas tax itself hasn't been increased in decades. And of course, in a good way, our vehicles are more fuel efficient, and a quarter of our new vehicles sold are EVs that aren't using that gas tax at all. So a lot of our discussion tomorrow will be about replacing the gas tax, likely with an item that is more based on registration of vehicles, but tiered by pricing. So that's that piece of it. And then in addition, was able to, we had the RAC, the Water Resources Advisory Committee, that I've been on for years. And it's a great committee, and I've been chairing it for the past 4 or 5 years, I guess. And so because of my full schedule and the fact that I'll term out in December, I've stepped back from chair, and we've elected a new chair and vice chair for that body. So Tom Burhan, who is in Jimmy Paulding's district, representative for that committee. So that was exciting. And and very positive. I also was at the City Cal Poly luncheon and echo Councilmember Marks's comments on that. I'm again through the we had the Groundwater Sustainability Commission meeting yesterday. And in that meeting, the city is a GSA, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, as is the county. Representatives from both of those, along with other groundwater basin stakeholders, met yesterday and received our annual report in terms of how the water levels are doing overall. As you can imagine, water levels are generally up because of that great rain year and lack of need for irrigation. The really interesting thing I wanted to be sure to share with council is that because the groundwater sustainability plan was submitted and accepted by the state, that the GSC, the commission, has been dissolved. That was the plan all along. Once the plan was accepted, to go ahead and come up with a new organizational structure. And we did finalize yesterday that we're not going to meet as a GSC anymore, that most of the projects are on the county's side of the basin. And so the county staff and the growers and other users and domestic water users, they'll be meeting and figuring out their own path forward for water sustainability water projects. So we have some work on our side, and staff will continue to communicate. So we had a lot of just appreciation for how cooperative that process was. Of course, I was at the housing summit with a few folks here, which was super interesting, and I look forward to more conversations on housing overall. And then my final one is that on behalf of the mayor, I attended the mayor's monthly meeting, which was hosted in Pismo Beach, and we got a legislative update and was able to hear updates from our Senator Laird's office and Don Addis's office and the county supervisors, and that was interesting and cooperative as always. And I think I did it. Thank you so much.
You have been busy, Vice Mayor Pease. I'll just close out with a few things. It's been a busy couple of weeks for me as well. I attended Parks and Rec, held a community meeting to discuss a potential pilot project bike park at Laguna Park, and it was extremely well attended. There were probably 75 or so people there. Lots of people of all ages excited about the opportunity of getting to build it. I think themselves, there were plenty of people that I think would have walked out of there with the shovel if they were given the opportunity, and are very looking forward. It couldn't come quick enough for them. They were chomping at the bit to have those improvements made quickly. So that was fun. And then I also poked in on the Community Academy with Councilmember Francis and stayed long enough to hear the introductions. And it is a impressive, well-rounded, involved group of people. So a real group of community leaders, I think, if not already, then at some point in the near future. I also attended the Housing Summit last Thursday with Vice Mayor Pease, a great event put on by the Chamber, and really thoughtful discussion, panelists and speakers. And then with Councilmember Marks, attended the season announcement at Slow Rep in the theater yesterday afternoon. So they have a great slate of shows coming up. So take a look at their calendar and definitely try to get to one of those shows or more. Anything else from my colleagues?
Yes, I forgot to mention the Integrated Waste Management Authority meeting of the 13th of March. And things are perking along there because the county has now rejoined the organization. This means that we have to, there's a lot of moving parts in terms of the reentry of the county into the authority. And one of the big ones is the budget. And we're doing a rate study that's coming up. And we are hoping that we've already reduced the waste management fee from 5.4% to 4.4%, and our goal is, if it pencils out, is to reduce it further to 3.4%. So we're trying to make sure that we're collecting the revenue we need to in order to fulfill our obligations to all the cities in the county, but also not over-realize funding. So it's exciting. Anytime we can reduce the price of anything for the public, that's a very exciting moment. So thank you.
Thank you for adding that in, Councilmember Marks. And before we close out the meeting tonight, it was reported out after closed session, but I just wanted to say one more time that in closed session tonight, we decided to appoint Ms. Whitney McDonald as our interim city manager. And just want to say that we are really grateful. I am really grateful for you being willing to step up into this role. We have a lot of confidence that it will allow us to create a smooth transition as we go forward in this city manager search. And you are a true public servant, and that is not a term that I take lightly, and I just really appreciate you stepping in. So thank you. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting, and the next regular meeting of the City Council will be held on April 2nd at 4:30 p.m. in council chambers. That's an early start time because we are doing the recognition of our advisory body members from 4:30 to 5:30. So that will happen from 4:30 to 5:30, and then the regular meeting will start as usual at 5:30. So thank you and have a good rest of your evening.